TV7 Israel News is made possible thanks to your generous donations. Shalom ve'erev tov, good evening. Welcome to our daily TV7 Israel News Bulletin broadcast from Jerusalem. U.S. Central Command strikes dozens of IRGC targets throughout Iran. Israeli Defense Minister Yisrael Katz asserts Israel is ready to strike Iran with force once the Ayatollah regime miscalculates. And Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu calls on Christian Evangelicals to stand up against those who attack both Jews and Christians alike. U.S. Central Command, or CENTCOM, struck multiple terror targets throughout Iran last night, targeting IRGC command centers, missile and drone facilities, coastal surveillance and defense sites, and maritime capabilities. The regime sought to spin the devastation that emerged in the aftermath of the American attacks, reportedly showing Iranian rescue teams digging through rubble. However, Ayatollah regime supporters, unaware of the desperate state of the mullahs, have voiced frustration over the show of weakness of the terror leadership in Tehran.
In my opinion, America's aim is to weaken the Islamic Republic system and break the axis of resistance in the region. I also heard that last night, or yesterday, I think, it probably also attacked Iraq's Hashd al-Shabi. Unfortunately, I also feel that our country's officials are showing a great deal of weakness regarding America's and Israel's attacks in the region, including against Iran.
It is important to highlight that the American attack against the IRGC was carried out in retaliation for an Iranian surprise attack toward American service members stationed in the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan the day prior, and after President Trump publicly announced his intention to instruct CENTCOM to launch very hard retaliatory strikes. Moreover, for the first time since the war broke out on February 28th, an unmanned aerial vehicle struck at least one commercial vessel in the Egyptian port of Damietta off the Mediterranean coast, highlighting clear escalation. Meanwhile, the White House President Trump was asked about the origin of the drone attack on Egypt, whether it emanated from Iran or one of its proxies in the region.
I've been briefed. It's a little more of the same, but it's going to be straightening out. It's going to be straightening out. In the meantime, we're going to be hitting them very hard because it's our turn to hit them. They know it's coming. They're asking us not to do it, but they tried shooting it last night.
President Trump was further asked about reports on an imminent shipment of Chinese surface-to-air capabilities earmarked for the IRGC in Iran.
President Xi told you that China would not give or sell Iran any weapons. And there's a new report that Iran's about to get 400 rocket launchers from China going through Pakistan to Iran.
Well, that would be surprising. I mean, things like that happen, but that would be surprising. He told me very strongly he wouldn't partake, and he knows I'd be quite disappointed.
Elsewhere in Washington, Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu met with U.S. government officials, to include U.S. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, as well as senators and congressmen who've stood and continue to stand firm in support of the U.S.-Israel alliance.
I'm delighted to see you again, Senator Cotton. You've been the great friend of Israel, none better, and I know you're a champion of the Israel-American alliance, which enhances the security of both our countries, and I want to thank you for your constant support and your indefatigable defense of Israel and the common values that make our countries great.
Thank you, Mr. Prime Minister. I appreciate it. I appreciate your support for our nation. Israel has proven itself to be the best ally we've had since Great Britain in World War II. That was the last time we had a nation that fought shoulder to shoulder with us, side by side, against our common enemy in Iran and against the radical terrorism we face. And I will always stand up for and support the United States-Israel alliance because it makes both of our nations safer.
Mr. Prime Minister, it was a supreme honor of my time here in the Senate to proud and stand with and for the vision and what Israel is, the miracle that Israel is. I've had the I've had the privilege of visiting a couple times, and when you witness it and you can just realize what a miracle it is, and how it's been disappointing as a Democratic politician, and how our party continues to behave. And we had the culmination of that where that worthless mayor in New York, saying these kinds of ridiculous claims. Now, I think, as far as I know, I was the only Democrat that was proud to push that trash back. And now here we are. It's like, but I'm proud to stand with Israel through everything. I'm proud to remain the conscience of the Democratic Party in Congress, not just the Senate, but over in Congress overall. I've always supporting things like last year, Midnight Hammer, or what you were confronting in Gaza, and how necessary it was to destroy Hamas and Hezbollah, and also go after the Iranian with their capabilities. It's always been a just war for me, and people forgot why this was even necessary, and look at the ways these organizations and the way Iran, I don't understand how we've arrived with where we are politically, at least in my party, but I have no regrets. But thank you for your kind words, and I'm always so sorry for what Israel and the Jewish community has suffered, especially since after 10/7.
Prime Minister Netanyahu also met with leaders of Jewish organizations, to include the American Israel Public Affairs Committee, as well as evangelical leaders who've also stood firm in their support of the nation-state of the Jewish people.
We're descendants from the original Hebrews of the Holy Land, and we are the first part of that Judeo-Christian heritage which we cherish, and which has given the world the civilization of freedom and faith. And again, we have to stand up and defend it. It's under attack from the rising tide of anti-Semitism and anti-evangelicalism, too. And it's not accidental that the two are coming under joint attack, because we are one. And what I ask you is only one thing. Stand up. Stand up, be calm, don't cower. And, when you're faced with an attack, what do? Attack back. That's all. That's my long speech. And, I'm very grateful to you for your consistent support, for the constancy of your friendship. And now it's time to fight, fight, fight. That's it.
Turning to Israel, where police and the Israel security agency Shin Bet cleared for publication that on the 29th of June, late last month, 34-year-old Amir Hisham Muhammad Titi, an Arab Israeli resident of a village in the western Galilee, was arrested and charged with spying on behalf of the Islamic Republic of Iran.
Upon conclusion of a complicated investigation of the Israel Security Agency together with the Northern Police Investigations Unit, I can tell that a few weeks ago a young resident of the Western Galilee region who works for a living as an ambulance driver. The young man, according to the investigation's findings, was recruited by an Iranian intelligence operative and was sent to a wide variety of operations during the war in the state of Israel. Among his missions, the young man arrived at hospitals to film our forces' preparedness during time of war. In addition, the suspect took initiative and filmed a very senior public figure in the state of Israel and distributed the pictures to his handlers. During the investigation, we exposed all of the suspect's activities, and all of it was done to make money, which he received from his Iranian handler.
Legal proceedings are currently underway against Muhammad Titi. It is important to know that under Israeli law, penalties for espionage charges range from several years in prison up to life imprisonment, and the death penalty is theoretically also available for certain severe treason offenses, but is extremely rare. Turning to the Israel Defense and Security Forum conference, where Israeli Defense Minister Yisrael Katz, in a Q&A session with the country's leading conservative channel 14, highlighted that while Iran is clearly deterred by Israel, if it ends up miscalculating, the IDF is ready to launch a full-scale attack against the Ayatollah regime in Iran.
The Iranians are shooting at everything in the region, except for one country, the State of Israel, while they know full well that American aircraft and refueling tankers are taking off from here to attack. Deterrence exists. That doesn't forespell what may happen tomorrow. It does highlight our expected response. The Prime Minister announced, we announced it in the clearest way. If they fire at Israel, we will attack with all our might. We struck in retaliation twice in Iran, and we are prepared to strike a third time blue and white. The IDF received a directive and prepared accordingly to be prepared to attack Iran alone. Now we are not alone. There is the United States. Let's see what it does. Does it return to the campaign? Does it do it in other ways? But Israel said Iran will not have nuclear weapons. We will not allow it to return to the nuclear program that we had eliminated, and we will not allow it to accumulate capabilities that would put Israel at risk. We are in a very good situation vis-a-vis Iran. An excellent situation. The great, boastful, and arrogant Persian Empire that worked to annihilate Israel has collapsed.
Jerusalem's top defense official further addressed the situation vis-a-vis Lebanon, where the Lebanese armed forces have already deployed in 2 pilot zones as part of a U.S. brokered agreement between Jerusalem and Beirut. According to Minister Katz, Israel is prepared to withdraw from Lebanon only when the Iranian proxy Hezbollah is comprehensively disarmed throughout Lebanese territory.
We have 700 square kilometers in southern Lebanon from the coastal area to Beaufort and the slopes of Mount Hermon. We are preventing a raid on the settlements. We are preventing direct anti-tank fire on the settlements, and the IDF is there and continues to blow up tunnels there and destroy. And we have announced that we are not leaving there, and this is a great achievement, until Hezbollah disarms all over Lebanon.
It is interesting to know that while there is a sense of urgency to bring about the disarmament of Hezbollah, a former deputy chief of staff of the Lebanese armed forces insisted that the agreement between Beirut and Jerusalem does not include a concrete timeline. Moreover, General Hassan Juni insinuated his belief that the disarmament of Hezbollah would only succeed once the Ayatollah regime capitulates, since the IRGC had instructed Hezbollah not to withdraw from subterranean infrastructure at the mountainous ridge of Ali Tahir, where hundreds of Iranian IRGC advisors alongside Hezbollah terror operatives are barricading themselves while the IDF is essentially encircling them.
I don't think they're referring to the Israeli army will withdraw from these areas, Beaufort Castle, Zatar al-Sharqiya, and the surrounding areas of Arnaout and Yomer, until the problem of Ali Tahir mountain ridge is resolved for the Israelis. Given that it is a key infrastructure for Hezbollah and the Israeli occupation army wants the Lebanese army to take over this infrastructure, and even beyond that a third party verifies that this infrastructure is cleared, dismantled, and destroyed. The issue of time and timeline does not exist in the agreement. Rather, it links the withdrawal of the occupying army from all Lebanese territory to the disarmament of Hezbollah across all Lebanese territory. From this, we can say that the matter cannot be measured in terms of time, but rather in terms of solutions. And the solutions, I believe, are very complicated when it comes to completely withdrawing Hezbollah's weapons from within Lebanon. The issue goes beyond the national sphere. It may even have a regional dimension. Therefore, I rule out, or I believe that the timeline for the Israeli occupation, based on this formula, will take a long time.
Thank you for watching TV7 Israel News, which is made possible by the generosity of our viewers. If you are blessed by our productions and would like to help support TV7 Israel, you can donate via our website at www.tv7israelnews.com. Please keep praying for the peace of Jerusalem and redemption of Israel. Jonathan Essen wishing you an Erev Mevorach, and God willing, until our next update, Shalom from Jerusalem.